Democrats have become like a royal family that, because of so much incest, has unfortunately had children who are retarded.
They believe that?
And the same thing can happen to ideas if they are also conceived in an atmosphere of intellectual incest. Maybe take the clothespins off your noses and actually converse with the other half of the country. Stop screaming at people.
Bill Maher blasts the Democrats over how they blew the 2024 election. This is rich coming from Bill Maher, who definitely suffers from TDS, but when even Bill is blasting the Democrats and saying, you guys did something wrong, that should tell the Democrats something. Is this the wake-up call that the Democrat needs? When even people like Bill Maher and Cenk Uygur are saying, hey, you guys screwed up? Let's see what Bill Maher and what Tim Pool has to say about the situation.
And the Democrats are starting to realize, they backed the wrong horse. Bill Maher takes it one step further, calling out Democrats using a rather disparaging term, which I'm going to wait 15 more seconds to say. Anyway, Bill Maher says Democrats blew the 2024 election with woke issues. Stop screaming at people. In fact, many outlets have highlighted this. Stupid Democrats need to ditch identity politics. And in it, he brings up a circumstance around Seth Moulton, another Democrat. Moulton said, I am concerned that my daughter will get run over by a male or formerly male athlete. And I'm supposed to be afraid to say that as a Democrat. It resulted in a resignation of one of his top aides. And it's now become a talking point of the left. John Oliver comes out with this viral clip where he lies. These people, they have no stats, they have no data, they just lie. And he says there's no issue with trans. It's very weird that you care about it in the first place. Okay, well, I'm going to do this. First, let's talk about what Bill Maher is saying, why he's calling the Democrats retarded offspring of inbred royalty. That's what he said. YouTube, I don't know if they're going to like that. But that's what he said. And I'm going to report what he said. Okay? This is a story from the New York Post. I'll play this quick clip for you. And we have the full segment here, which I'll play some of.
Democrats have become like a royal family that, because of so much incest, has unfortunately had children who are
They believe that?
And the same thing can happen to ideas if they are also conceived in an atmosphere of intellectual incest. Maybe take the clothespins off your noses and actually converse with the other half of the country. Stop screaming at people to get with the program and instead make a program worth getting with.
So as I've explained quite a bit, for those of you who actually watch, and I have the full segment here. It's 7 minutes long. We'll go through it. It's very good, and I want to break some of this stuff down. Democrats have become completely isolated. And so the way I described it several years ago is imagine there's a whirlpool and everyone's swirling around it. As you get closer to the middle, it spins faster and faster, but eventually it slingshots people out. You don't actually get sucked down into the abyss. Some do, I guess. And so that's someone like me. I was a Democrat, liberal, and as they got crazier and crazier, I get ejected from it. And that's true for a lot of people. Take a look at Free Press, Barry Weiss and her cohorts, or colleagues. People are just thrown out. Now I'm seeing a lot of people, professional athletes, celebrities, people who were never super political, now backing Donald Trump because Democrats have become insane. One example I like to give is the word Wimixin. You heard that right, Wimixin. Let me say this again, Wimixin, okay? For those of you who know the word, you're laughing because you know what I'm talking about. The rest of you are like, Tim, I don't know what that is. Right. There was a point a few years ago where liberals said WOMXN is the inclusive and required way to say women, Wimexin, because it was inclusive of all women, not just biological females. The response was that actually it's exclusionary because trans women are women and you don't need a special word for it. And so it went from, in the span of a couple of weeks, being the appropriate term, then the not appropriate term. So how do you even keep track with how you're not supposed to offend somebody? That is what Bill Maher is saying, is when it's incestuous. The ideas are mashed together in psychotic ways. They simultaneously say war is bad while cheering on the war in Ukraine. It makes no sense. Well, let me play a little bit of what Bill Maher had to say. I don't care for much of the stuff in the beginning, but let's play this.
They live here. and they actually see women and people of color, and it doesn't look like some patriarchal racist nightmare. Do problems remain pertaining to racism and sexism? Of course. But a poll last year asked, if America is the greatest country in the world, more blacks and Hispanic Americans agreed with that than the white progressives. It asked if racism is built into our society. White progressives agreed with that at higher levels than black and Hispanic people. It asked if government should increase border security. Same result. Hispanic Americans are less okay with illegal immigration than whitey.
Yep.
The votes are in.
We saw that
It's almost as if there maybe like is a
southern border in the Rio Grande Valley. Areas that were traditionally Democrat flipped Republican because of the border issue.
They don't want your pity. And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Indeed
Black
they
people,
do.
They're just like us.
Democrats are racist.
I mean, yeah, that's been one of the right's talking points for a long time, that they're actually more racist than us. Because, I mean, well, first of all, I mean, it's kind of a given, because they view everything through the prism of race and gender and sexuality. They view everything through that. That's how their hierarchy is built. Before, like in communist societies, it was rich and poor. That was the hierarchical society. But now it's like, okay, it's white and black and Hispanic, or it's, you know, gay, straight, trans, women, man. That's how you view it. That's why they demonized straight white men, because that was like the top. Straight white cisgender men were like the top number one status in the hierarchy. And then it goes down from there, because they look at everything through this lens, through this ridiculous ideological lens that they have. So on that basis, I mean, it's in itself racist and sexist and all these things. It is in itself all these things because that's how they have to look at it through everything. If you're looking at everything through race, then by default, it's racist. What do you guys think? Sound off in the comments below. Subscribe if you like content like this. Let's continue.
Oh, there's Cuomo clapping along. Get with it.
But they don't need to. Have you seen my "In This House We Believe" lawn sign? See, it says right on it, we believe in science. Right, which is why you demanded no one even debate whether COVID could have escaped from the one lab in the one city where they were studying it. How far-fetched.
Where were you on that,
The New
Bill?
York Times called it racist.
Indeed they did.
Democrats have become like a royal family that, because of so much incest, has unfortunately had children who are retarded. And the same thing can happen to ideas if they are also conceived in an atmosphere of intellectual incest. Maybe take the clothespins off your noses and actually converse with the other half of the country.
Nope.
Stop screaming at people to get with the program and instead make a program worth getting with. What good is liberalism if you don't win elections? Last week, Massachusetts Congressman Seth Moulton said, "I have two little girls. I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a formerly male athlete."
He said by a male athlete or formerly male athlete, but they cut that out for some reason. I don't know why.
But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that. Yes, there's the problem in a nutshell.
Indeed.
I mean, the fact that they even cut that out shows that it is the problem. And Bill Maher actually making sense here. Actually making sense. But he is 100% correct. And these people, not only do they act R-worded and look R-worded, but calling these people R-worded is pretty apt because they act R-worded and they look R-worded. And a lot of people hate to admit it, but the non-progressives, the non-lefties, the people over here on the right, have made a program that people want to get behind. And it's not even that radical. Like before, we used to get labeled as the far right, but it's like, no, we're not far right. We're just common sense. We're only far right because you are so extreme that anything right to that extremism, that's considered extreme.
Because Congressman Moulton sounds reasonable to me, but his campaign manager immediately resigned in protest. Let me make this as plain as I can to the smart people. The campaign manager who resigned, yeah, let that person go.
Should have been fired.
Marginalize that guy.
Seth Moulton, I believe, ran unopposed, too.
Try making too woke be a cancelable offense. It's important for America to have a center-left party, and for that party to be competitive. And a good first step toward that goal would be to make the voters not want to punch you in the face. I will conclude.
Jeez.
I will conclude by saying the reason I'm so mad at the Democrats is because as a voter, the issues that were important to me were democracy and the environment. And now, there's no one to champion or defend either of them because you, with your aggressively anti-common sense agenda and shitty...
You know, I got to say this. There is someone to champion democracy, and his name is Donald Trump. You see, for me in this country, I watch them levy false charges at Donald Trump. And I know you all know this, but for those who stumble upon this video and are new to this channel, Donald Trump was charged with 34 counts of falsifying business records in furtherance of a crime. That requires an underlying crime. There isn't one. In which case, those charges are 34 misdemeanors, which had already are already past the statute of limitations. In order to charge Trump, they had to claim there was an underlying crime that he was never charged for, and then ask the jurors to make it up. As for the civil fraud, the bank said he didn't defraud them. They said that they made money and they were very happy and wanted to keep working with him. As for the sexual assault liability charge, that was a new law passed just so one person could sue Donald Trump 30 years after the fact with no evidence. And they all believe it because the liberal worldview is downstream from hoaxes. And Bill, you're mad because you lost, but you still live in a world downstream from hoaxes. Let's throw it to that story.
Temple is absolutely right there. Bill Maher and all these other lefties that are calling out the left, they're mad that they're lost and they're taking it out on the party. But by the way, they should absolutely take it out on the party. The party's the one that failed them bigly because we won bigly. And I believe these people should hold the Democrats and some of these political pundits accountable. You know, I believe that David Pakman should be held accountable by these fans. I believe that the Democrats should be held accountable by Bill Maher. And I also believe Bill Maher's viewers should hold Bill Maher accountable because he, at the end of the day, is still one of these people carrying their water. But give credit to where it's due. I think Bill Maher was actually correct on everything he said here today. But what do you guys think? Sound off in the comments below. And if you want to see Bill Maher making a fool out of himself, I have a whole playlist for you on the left-hand corner.